Alright, Shalom Israel. It's your boy from Sons of Zion, Yakamah, aka Yahweh's Fury. I wanted to touch on Deuteronomy 23 and 7 from where I left off on, because it was one more point where I wanted to touch on, and I wanted to give info about how Abraham was a Syrian. So let's just start off on Deuteronomy 23 and 7 real quick, because it was one more point and I was like, dang, I forgot to put it up, and it's a beautiful thing. So let's see, Deuteronomy 23. So yeah, this is just a continuation, like a part 2 of the last video. So yeah, it says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. Right? Nobody really trips about the second part of that verse. Everybody trip on that Edomite part because they want to say the white man. Cool, whatever. But like I said, we never abhor anybody anyway. You know what I'm saying? We in captivity. How can we? Abhor means to do abominably. We're not doing that. So but what I wanted to point out, how to cut this little doctrine that they present, because it's not supposed to mean, or it's not supposed to say Edomite. When you go into the Hebrew, it goes back to the word Syrian. It's supposed to mean Syrian, right? So and I'm gonna show you, because it don't even make sense, because 2 chapters later in Deuteronomy, I believe the Lord was saying, kill all the Amalekites, which are Edomites. So how you gonna say, do not abhor Edomite, and then 2 chapters later you calling for the destruction of some Edomites? So I'm gonna show y'all. I always kind of keep precepts in here in these notes. That it would be Deuteronomy 25:19, I believe. 25 verse 19. Yeah, I'm starting at 17, but like I said, two chapters later, it says, start at 17, it says, remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt. When we left Egypt, we tried to go over there and cross through, but the Amalekites wouldn't let us. It says, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee. And when thou was faint and weary, and he feared not God. And they was dirty to us, man. They ain't give a damn about us. Here go the point right here. So because of that, and they wouldn't let us cross through, it says, verse 19, therefore it shall be, when Yahweh thy God had given thee rest from all thine enemies round about in the land which Yahweh thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. So this was a commandment. This was a commandment to do. When we get into our land, destroy them. Blot out the remembrance of them. And I think he gave this commandment to, I want to say Saul, when Saul was king. But he didn't do it. And that's why the Lord took his spirit away from him. And probably one of the reasons why, because he was wicked. He was a wicked dude. But that was one thing I forgot to mention on my last video about Deuteronomy 23 and 7. That two chapters later, the Most High was saying, when we get into our land, kill these Amalekites. Kill them all. Blot out their remembrance. That was a commandment. That's how we know that Deuteronomy 23 and 7 was not supposed to say Edomite. It's really Syrian. When you go into the Hebrew, the blue letter Bible lets you know that that's a clerical error. But I also wanted to, this is another part too, because I wanted to show how Abraham was a Syrian. That's what it's supposed to say in Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Do not abhor an Assyrian. Do not abhor a Syrian, because he is thy brother, right? 23. For he is thy brother. And you may be asking yourself, like, well, how is the Syrian our brother? Well, I'm going to try to break it down with the best of my ability through my understanding and through what I've been researching. So through the knowledge that the Most High gave me as well. So Genesis, let's do Genesis. I'm starting from Genesis 11, 26. Basically, this gives down the genealogy or the generations of where we descend from. I think it goes all the way up to Shem. Let me see. Well, it started at the Tower of Babel, and then, you know. But the point is, 27. It says, now these are the generations of Terah, which is Abraham's father. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begot Lot. So Abraham had two other brothers, and he had a nephew, Lot, right? If you understand what happened to Lot, when he got carried away he got kidnapped, and Abraham had to go get him out of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he's a progenitor of the Ammonites and the Moabites. But that's neither here nor there. And it says, and Haran died before his father Terah. So one of Abraham's brothers died before his father in the land of his nativity, in Ur of Chaldees. So Ur of Chaldees, right? Let's look that up and see where that is, like on the map or something, just for edification's sake. You see what I'm saying? Ur of Chaldees already popped up. Images. See if I can get a better. Basically, it's in modern day Iraq. The lower part of Iraq. I want to find something. Okay, here this might be a better picture. So this is modern day Iraq right here. The light highlighted part. And it says you're right there. That's where Abraham was from. And his family, right? Let's see. Let's see if I can find a better picture. Okay, this might be a little bit better. Okay, so here you go. If you pay attention, you can see where Ur is. Right down there. Modern day Iraq. Close to Babylon. Basically the Mesopotamia area, you know what I'm saying? And this was his journey, the little light, what is that, turquoise blue little marks? That was his journey. He left from Ur, went to Haran or Karan, left from over there, went to the motherland, and then he went over there into Egypt too. So yeah, he was from Ur of Chaldees, right? But I want to show you something else. How you probably like, well, that don't say Syrian. Okay, I'm gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? I'm leading up to something. Let me go to Genesis 24. I just wanted to show y'all that picture for edification. I'm start at 1. It says, and Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. So Abraham was old, right? And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, his eldest servant that ruled over all the land, all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. So Abraham said, man, put your hand under my thigh, right? This was a custom that they did before they made a promise or a vow or a swear to him. And it says, and I will make thee swear by Yahweh, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. So at this point in time, Abraham was dwelling around the Canaanites, and he didn't want his son taking a wife from them. We ain't supposed to be messing with none of them Canaanite Africans, man. None of them. You know what I'm saying? Even though we do got some people over there. Verse 4, it says, but thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. So he wanted this servant to go find a wife from Abraham's people, right? And verse 5, it says, and the servant said unto him, peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Peradventure means perhaps. Must I needs bring thy son again unto the land from whence thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, so the woman, or the servant was like, what if this woman don't want to follow me back? Do I need to bring Isaac over there? And Abraham said unto him, beware thou that thou bring not my son to there again. He said, don't bring my son over there ever. If that's the case, if you can't find a woman, don't even bring him over there. I like this. I'm gonna highlight all that. So Abraham told his servant, go find Isaac a wife from my people in my country, my kindred in my country. Right? Because I think it's some more on here too. Because the servant ended up finding the woman. I don't want to get into all of that. It's a good chapter to read. It's real good. I think it's down in 30s. I want to say. Okay. 36. Yeah, I had to highlight. Cool. This is the point. Well, this ain't the point, but it's getting there. It's just he just reiterating. So basically the servant ended up finding the woman, which was Rebecca, put some jewels on her, and she took them back to her home, to her brother Laban, I believe. But you can read all that. And it says 24 and 36. Genesis 24 and 36. It says, and Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him hath he given all that he had. And my master made me swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go into my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. That's just how it is today, man. A lot of, especially in the black community, even in the Latino, Mexican community, we want you to, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to bring a woman from another nation home. I don't think I could bring a white woman to my mother's home. You know, or vice versa to anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's more common for a brother to get a Mexican girl or a Mexican girl to mess with a black man, but kind of dealing with these other nations, it's kind of looked upon as weird, even still today. Even though they promote it on TV a lot, this interracial stuff, especially when it comes to the white man and the black woman. Even with J-Lo, a lot of her movies, she dealing with white dudes all the time. And they try to paint her out to be a white woman, but she knows she ain't. She an Israelite. But a lot of TV shows paint a white man with a black woman, or a white man with a Latino woman, and never really a black man with a white woman. They don't want to see that. It's I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I ain't want to get into all that. But it says, he said, verse 38, but thou shalt go into my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, peradventure the woman will not follow me. So perhaps the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yahweh before whom I walk will send his angel with thee, and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kindred, and of my father's house. So he said, man, you gonna find somebody. He just basically gave a recap to Laban about what Abraham said to him, right? I'm just leading up to letting you know who is Abraham's people, right? So Laban is the brother of Rebekah. Rebekah would soon be Isaac's wife. Some of the tribes come from Rebekah, and some of them come from let me say, no, that's Rebekah. I'm tripping. Rebekah. Okay, so where else I want to go? Rebekah's father, to see what he was, right? Because this is the kicker right here. This is the kicker. Genesis 25. Genesis 25. Let me see. 19. Let's see. 19 to 20. I'm gonna start at 19. Let me highlight this. It says, Genesis 25:19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Right? Abraham begat Isaac. Verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. Right? The daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian. So Rebekah's the daughter of Bethuel, which makes Rebekah a Syrian. Didn't Abraham say, go find people, go to my people, my kindred, from my country? He says, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Paddan-aram. Salaki, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. So Abraham's people are the Syrians. That's why Deuteronomy 23:7, it's a clerical error meant to say Syrians and not Edomites. That's why they your brother. Because Abraham was a Syrian. He was a Hebrew. He was also a Syrian from the Mesopotamia area. Right? Is there something else I'm missing? Oh, something cold, right? Deuteronomy 26 and 1. No, it ain't 1. I got a highlight. Cool. Right there. So right here, it tells you. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to let y'all go into it and decide. This is Deuteronomy 26:5. It says, and thou shalt speak and say before Yahweh thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, a great, mighty, and populous. Verse 6, and the Egyptians evil entreated us, and afflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. Who is this Syrian they talking about in verse 5? You gonna come to find out. Talking about Jacob. Talking about Jacob. Jacob went down, well, Israel, basically. Later on, his name's called Israel. A Syrian ready to perish was my father, and he went down into Egypt. Why was he ready to perish? Because the land had a famine where they was at. They had a famine in the land, so they had to go down to Egypt to survive. Joseph was king. Well, I ain't gonna say he was king. Well, he had a good name around the Pharaoh at that time. Yeah, so it calls Jacob a Syrian. That's our forefather Jacob right there. That's who your brothers are too. The Edomites are your brothers too. The Syrians are your brothers too. You see what I'm saying? But Esau got cut off. You watch the last video I made about that. It's all in there. I'm not gonna treat them like no brother. None of these nations is getting treated like a brother. Because ain't no one out here trying to help us. And no one can save us anyway. When you read Deuteronomy 28. No man shall buy thee, which means redeem. Ain't nobody gonna redeem us but Yahweh Shah, Hamashiach, Wamalak. I think I also wanted to touch on, because Stephen said some powerful stuff in Acts chapter 7. 1. Basically, this is a good chapter to read too, Acts 7. Basically, Stephen, he quoted the whole Bible and let us know what happened to us and what was going to happen and all that, right? Before they stoned him to death. I'm starting at 7:1. It says, then said the high priest, are these things so? And he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken, meaning listen, pay attention. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia. That's why I said before he was in Mesopotamia, right? Before he dwelt in Haran. Haran was Haran because when he was in the land of Ur, he went north to Haran, right? So he was in that's where Abraham is from, the Mesopotamia area, the land of Chaldees, Ur of Chaldees, right? And let's see, verse 3, it says, and said unto him, get thee out of thy country. Woo! That's where he's from. And from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Verse 4 says, then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Haran, Ur of Chaldees, right? And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land. So when Abraham's father died in Haran, or Haran, Abraham went to basically Israel. It wasn't Israel at that time, it was the land of Canaan. That's why he said he didn't want Isaac to marry a daughter from the Canaanites. Go to my people, right? Wherein ye now dwell, right? And he gave him none inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. At that time, he's like, I ain't even got a child, so but it's gonna come to the sea, and it really did. So basically, Stephen was given a breakdown of what happened with Abraham, Egypt, and everything that transpired. He basically quoted the whole Bible. This is a good chapter to know, man. I'm gonna stop at verse 7. This is verse 6. It says, "And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years." We just read that they treated us evil. What was that in I can't remember. We just read that though. And the nation, verse 7, "And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God. And after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place." Right? That's talking about ancient Egypt, man. That's where we served 400 years, right? And that's a cut on the doctrine people use in Genesis 15. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Genesis 15. This is going off topic, but I see a lot of people talking about Genesis 15, where it gives this is where God is telling Abraham that know of a surety your seed is going to be in a strange land for 400 years, right? Genesis 15 and 13. I got to highlight it. And it says, "And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years." Verse 14. "And also that nation whom they shall serve, will I judge, afterward shall they come out with great substance." Yeah, that's what we just read in Acts 7. Acts 7 and 6 and 7. That's what Genesis 15 and 13 and 14 is talking about. Egypt. Because a lot of people take Genesis 15, 13, and 14 and say that's talking about America. Because we serving 400 years, 1619 to 2019 is 400 years. This is not talking about America. We're not gonna come out of here with great substance. But in Egypt they came out with great substance. Yes, they did. Matter of fact, do I got it? I think so. Exodus 12:36. You gotta keep them precepts. This is how you get your understanding. Exodus 12 and 36. Try to remember that. 12 and 36. I'm gonna start at 35. Let me highlight this. Yeah, Exodus 12:35. "And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians." Basically, we finessed them and took they shit and came out with great substance. That's what that is. So that was just a little cut on Genesis 15 and 13 to 14. People use that to say America, we've been here for 400 years, starting from 1619 to 2019, and our captivity is gonna be up. Our captivity ain't up until Christ return. You feel me? We still gotta go through martial law, Jacob's trouble. Come on, man. Y'all gonna run out of juice. Y'all gonna run out of gas, man. You gotta endure to the end. It ain't the end yet. 2019 ain't the year. Lord willing, it is the year. But I can't say it is. Because even before before 1619, it was people here in slavery, captivity, all the way to the 1400s. Matter of fact, dang, I can't remember the chapter in Ezekiel, but Ezekiel quotes us being in America when he had them lay on his side for a number of days, his left side for a number of days, and on his right side for a number of days, equaling every one. I think it says every day represents a year, right? It's a lot. You had to take me a drink. Mouth getting dry, talking too much. So yeah, every day represents a year, and it end up equaling or totaling up to 430 years. So we only had 400, as far as we know, if you start from 1619. But Ezekiel quotes about that 430-year prophecy, which is talking about America. That's a whole nother subject I ain't about to get into, but Lord willing, I probably will. But I just really wanted to touch on that Deuteronomy 23 and how Abraham, his people are the Syrians, which makes him a Syrian, which makes us go back to the Syrians. We still the Israelites though. So yeah, in Deuteronomy 23 it says, it's supposed to say, thou shalt not abhor and a Syrian, for he is thy brother. That's how they are your brother, because they come. That's who Abraham's people are. So with that, hey, I hope everyone who watches this video is edified. I probably will put that Ezekiel prophecy in the description, so you can go check that out. Make sure everybody's fully edified. And yeah, man, well, when I do some more videos, shalom to all the Akim, the brothers out there pushing the work, pushing this truth, and with sincere, being sincere about it. Even the elders, who they call the apostles out there, and to the elect men out there. Lord willing, we fishing them out, so we can get the hell up out of this captivity here. So shalom to my people, man, and Lord willing, I get to do this again. Shalom, barakatah.